Welcome back everyone. Quickly, let's continue our discussion on CSS layout, and right now we'll be discussing about the width and the max width property. By controlling our CSS layout, we are going to use to control our CSS layout, we are going to use width and max width property. Using width and max width along with margin auto. As mentioned in the previous chapter, all this, if I start reading all this, you may get confused because I'm not an Englishman. If I start reading all this, you may get confused. I just want you to note some notes right here. Is that, let's say you specify 500 pixel in your document in a div element right here, and you give it margin auto. Let's do it with our element right here. Let's say for instance we are having this fit set now, and we now change this one from max width to width, and we give it 500 pixel. Let's save our document and reload our document. You're going to see what I'm talking about. When I reload, can you see we are having this 500 pixel, right? So the second thing I want you to note right here is that the problem with div, definitely we are not saying the problem with our fit set element is that when the browser window is smaller than the width of the element, the browser then adds a horizontal scroll bar to the page. That is to say, when our browser right here now gets smaller like this to this level now, automatically by default, our browser will add this ruler, horizontal ruler there. So that is the benefit of using the width. If you don't want this ruler to occur, now you can now use the max width property. Now when I change this to max width, but before I change it to max width, when we are using the width, if you notice very well, when it's until we scroll like this before we can be able to see the end of the border. As you can see, we are not able to see the end of the border once our screen is lesser than the 500 pixel. But once it's up more than 500 pixel or 500 pixel approximately, it's going to show the end of the border. But now, if you notice, if our screen is smaller than 500 pixel, the browser will automatically show us this ruler, so that we'll be able to see the rest width of our element. But now let's say we don't want this kind of thing to happen. We just want to see the full width of our element every time we resize our browser. That's why you need max width. You change the width to max width. When you change the width to max width like that, you're going to see that when I reload now, can you see automatically this width is going to be resizing itself? Can you see it resizing itself? But when it gets to that 500 pixel, can you see it will stop? Or when your browser screen is smaller, can you see it's getting smaller also? It's getting smaller also. But if you don't use the max width, it's not going to do like that. That's the benefit of using the max width and the width. That's why I say if I click for explaining a long talk right here, you may not understand it easily. So that's the benefit. That's why we are hearing that using max width instead is this, in this situation we improve the browser's handling of small windows. This is important when making a site usable on small devices. As you can see, we kill it gently, and our field set element has max width property along with margin auto. So even we don't specify margin auto there, and we are able to have the thing. As you can see, we resize what we did earlier. We resize the browser window to the less than 500 pixel wide to see the differences between the two fit set elements. As you can see, so that's what. So when we have only width like this, when we reload our document, if you notice very well, we are not able to see the full width of our fit set element anymore. Let's say for instance now, let's turn this to 200 pixel. Let's turn it to 200 pixel and reload our document. When I reload, can you see we are still not able to see the 200 pixel? So let's turn it to 150 pixel. When we reload now, you're going to see, can you see now, until we turn it to 150 pixel before we are able to see this, see the full size of our, see the full width of our fit set element. But let's now say we don't want to resize this thing to the smaller level, because just in case if you enlarge this thing now, it's just going to be on mobile level. by default, and we don't want that to happen. That's when you need, when you now specify like 300 pixel right here, just give it max width. When you give it max width, whenever you resize, if you do like you reload, you will still be able to see this, and whenever you resize your screen, you will still be able to see the max width in 300 pixel. So that's what I want to show you guys. I don't want you guys to get headache when I start reading all around. That's why I short it, so that you can be able to see the main benefit. And right here, as mentioned in the previous tutorial, a block level element always takes up the full width available, stretch and stretch out to the left and right as far as it can. So that's one of the, and this element we used earlier is also one of the block element they are talking about, because when we specify, let's say we come down here, right here now, outside of this section right here, we give a fit set element here. We write, let's just write hello, let's just write hello there. Let's just test it if it is a fit, if it's a block element or not. We want to know. Let's write double hello. Let's see what will happen to it when I reload my document and come down here. Can you see it is a block element because it jumped to the other line immediately. The second one fits element jumped to the other line immediately. That's what I want you guys to know. I've shown you guys this scope in our previous tutorial. I want you guys to please practice, because practice makes perfect. You can check my previous CSS tutorial on CSS width and max width, or you can check my playlist. You will find a playlist where I've titled responsive website, or responsive CSS responsive, or HTML responsive website. So you can just check HTML responsive and so on, or check our HTML max or CSS max width playlist to be able to follow along easily. And what akorede is my name once again. I wish to see you guys next time to the next tutorial. Peace and love.